Oh man, do you see what I see? Last year, I grew a bunch of carrots, but I accidentally left them in the ground for the entire wintertime. Turns out they're actually pretty good, and I was able to eat them. My question is, can as the very same logic apply to parsnips that have actually grown through winter? I don't really know. Let's find out. What's going on, my plant peoples? I am the ADHD gardener where I use gardening, houseplants, and humor as a form of mental health therapy, and I got me some parsnips. These parsnips were sown last year, so technically they have been in the ground for 1 year already. So now, if you see my video on carrots, I actually left them in the ground because I kind of forgot about them, but they were actually pretty good. I had them under a hoop house. They were pretty good. They were actually sweet, and they were still edible. So these parsnips, I never plucked out of the ground at all. So these are technically really, well, supposedly they're supposed to be hard and woody, and I just want to know, can we still eat them now? And if not, what can these parsnips be, used for? Before we begin, I want to let you guys on a little updated info. Is of course you can catch me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there all the time. But in the description below, I have my P.O. box. So if you want to send me something cool, something gardening related, something interesting, something curious, you can always just, send it to me. That'd be pretty awesome. If you want to support this channel and you really believe in my mission and helping me kind of make this all happen, then you can also donate to me. That'd be awesome through PayPal. I'll drop that link down in the description below too. Back to the video. So what I'm going to do is actually, Freddie always has to make an appearance in my videos. So what I'm going to do is actually try to taste one of these and see, how is it going to taste or not. Because they say that parsnips and as well as carrots, because this applies for both of them, they say that if you leave your carrots or parsnips in the ground for too long, they start to develop a very woody, hard texture on the inside of the parsnip, rendering it inedible. So I wanted to know, can I really eat this? Can I not really eat this? I'm just a curious soul. That curiosity in me, it just begs the question. Even if I know that it's not edible, I still want to try it because that's just what I do, for shits and giggles, basically, in other words. So I'm going to get to that later on. But in the meanwhile, we're going to talk about looking at the stem. We're going to look at what's going on with the leaves. Is there any seeds growing, flowers growing? How does this all work when it comes to parsnips? I'm hoping to get some carrot seeds too. But to be honest, I kind of forgot if they're from this year or last year. So this is why we're going to be looking at the different, the subtle differences in between first year carrots and parsnips versus the second year. And that's where we're talking about the height, the width, the structure, the texture of the stems. All these things are clues, to tell you what year it is. And, I guess you can just see how long the parsnip or the carrot has been developing. First things first, my original point of me growing these parsnips for the second year is because I want to get seeds. Carrots and parsnips are biennial plants, which means that you will not develop any seeds the first year. You have to wait until the second year of growth of these parsnips and carrots in order for the plant to start developing flowers, then getting seeds. I have parsnips growing all around the garden, just in sporadic places, because that's just what I do. Sporadic and random is what I do. I'm going to show you on the top of these parsnips right here that I have a bunch of flowers starting to develop, because I think it's pretty cool. I had to wait 2 years for this to freaking happen, okay? I'm very excited to get some flowers out of these parsnips because why not? Notice at the top of the parsnips, it's starting to develop these like bulb looking things. Look at that. This is where the flowers are starting to develop. It looks funny now, but it's going to be popping open with a bunch of flowers or a bunch of leaves. I'm not really sure exactly, but we can look at another one to see if this is really going to be just leaves or is it going to be flowers. Check that out. Isn't that the coolest? I have never seen parsnips in the second year. Have you? Let me know down in the comments below. Have you ever tried, getting some seeds out of your parsnips or carrots? We have another one right over here. This one looks like is going to be just leaves, but I have seen somewhere where there is flowers involved in this. I just got to figure out where. Hold on a second. Let's. All right, I'm sacrificing the plants. Oh, I just did it. Whoa, look at that. Oh, check that out. This was flowers. Well, at least the buds of the flowers. That was pretty cool. I never would have seen this if I did not wait. Okay, so this is exactly what I wanted to see. Look at that. That's so cool. Now I gotta take a picture. Your parsnips and carrots will not develop any flowers that first year. That's why it's called a biennial, because you gotta wait for 2 years before this makes it, before it happens. That's okay though. Patience is king, and you know what? We have to learn patience, and we all know ADHD does not give me much patience, but that's okay. That is why gardening is my therapy, because it kind of forces me and teaches me to chill out and slow down and relax. And as my family says, coge loco and take it easy, which means friggin' relax. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to parsnips or carrots that has grown from last year versus the second year is the stem. The stem of the parsnips is ridiculously thick. It's a lot thicker. Now, if you've seen what a celery looks like, you know how it has kind of like these ridges on the celery stalk? That's exactly what the stem kind of looks like. You won't see that development in the first year, not that I've noticed, or maybe you would, but not nearly as defined and rigid as you would see in the second year. So that's another thing that I've noticed, because let's just say you didn't label your plants and you're trying to figure out, man, is this parsnip from this year or last year? Oh, hey Chip, how's it going? Anyway, that's one of the ways that you'd be able to tell is the rigidity or the texture of the outside of the stem. This one is thick, yo. I mean, I'm probably gonna be measuring this. This is ridiculously big. Okay, look at that. It's really, really, really thick. Look at that stalk. You already know that that parsnip is gonna be woody as heck if you try to eat this sucker. I'm just gonna give you a little sneak tip on my carrots. Now these carrots have been in there since last year. I planted them way too late, but also notice their stem. Okay, since when do you know that carrots start growing like this? All right, this typically would have been a lot taller. I mean, had it had the strength to grow like this, and straight up, but notice the stem. Look at it. It's starting to get a lot more woodier too. Not exactly to the extent of like the parsnips, but it's still not looking so great. You know what I mean? Another thing that you may notice about the parsnip is that they grow ridiculously tall. Now they grew tall last year, but this year, the second year, they grew even taller. So I don't know if that's like a concrete evidential way of finding out if it's, second year. I mean, last year the stem was like down here. So I gotta say that this is definitely the second year right here. They get really, really, really tall. For the record, I just want to say that parsnips are showers. They're not really growers. You know what I mean? If you know what I mean. Like you can get a lot of these tops. You can get them real tall, real leafy and all that. But when it boils down to the good parts, if you know what I mean, it's small and uneventful. These are a bunch that I just pulled up because I don't know. I think I needed space. But look at it. For all the growing, you're not showing. Okay? Disappointment in the show department, all right? Look at that. Nice showers, but not a grower, Chip. Look at that. That's disappointing. But these would be decent size, but, they could stand to grow a little more. And nothing worse than a really, really thin parsnip. We're paying attention. We're looking at our plants. And that's another thing that's part of, that's part of the therapy of gardening outside. We're looking, we're chilling out, we're relaxing, we're just observing our plants. And you'd be surprised, even when you're really pissed off or you're really sad one day and you come out here and you start observing and looking at your plants, it has a tendency of calming you down. It has a tendency of relaxing you, easing up, and, shifting that focus on something more positive instead of ruminating or obsessing in your mind, which is one other reason why I love gardening so much. Let's do this. Okay, look at that. That was another disappointment. Look at that. Okay, well, we all know that this went really, really, really deep. When you have a bunch of roots growing out like this is telling you that you have some sort of like rock or something in the ground that's preventing this whole parsnip or carrot to be growing perfectly down, in the soil. So obviously there is some kind of, but that's okay though. You can actually just rip them out and still eat your parsnip or carrot as is. But would you really want to eat this one though? Oh man, do you see what I see? Look at that. Okay, the outer layer, that's probably the only possible edible thing that there is. The core is what we're looking at right here. See that? How everything else was peeled away, easier to be peeled away? And look, you're left with this stem right here. And obviously that is not a good look. Ugh, you can't even break that. That's a bad sign already. Check this one out. It is huge. Look at the stem on this one. My goodness. Just look at that. That is the weirdest looking stem. Okay, let's check out what it is underneath. Of course, this is more of a shower than a grower. Here we go. Not bad. This would have been a decent sized parsnip. That makes sense, but I wouldn't eat it though. Still has some of those roots. That means that I had some rocks are blocking my way of getting through the soil. Check that out. That's okay though. If you were to eat this, oh look. Oh man. I'm afraid. Alright, I'm going to take this, and I'm not going to screw this up. I'm going to take this inside, you know, peel it down as if you were going to eat it. And now technically you can eat these raw. So I'm just going to bite right into it, and we're going to see how miserably poor this is going to taste. Check this out. All right, I peeled it. Now from the outside, it feels funny. And you technically could eat the outside after you peeled it. Not terrible. But once you get into the core, okay. Oh, that's not happening. But I already expected this. And this is why they say you cannot eat a parsnip or a carrot that has been, like, way too long in the ground because of this. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you got some good information out of it. I mean, if you don't succeed at first, try again. You know, gardening is a trial and error. And I tell you, once you do get it, you are just going to love it and reap the dopamine hits that's coming with growing a successful garden. If you did enjoy this video and you want to show me some love, then don't forget to smash that like button. I really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't already, then consider subscribing. I drop a video twice a week. Also, when in doubt, you can always catch me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on there all the time. And until the next episode, you guys, where you and me both are going to be growing our happiness one plant at a time, one day at a time. I'll check you out in the next episode. Peace and love.